first ever Social Tuesday. Now, if you've been around for Wednesdays, you know that on Wednesdays we have Website Wednesday, where these particularly prankster-ish, sometimes weird and cruel guests will pick a search term or a website and say, "Here, Dean, tackle this," and it's my job to, on the spot, show how I would fix it, change its headline, change what's happening there, photographs, and that kind of stuff.
As
So
it should be.
they've told me again and again they really love Website Wednesdays. For me, it's like a tension-filled, near nervous breakdown session, but for them, they love it. So today we're going to do something similar today and every Tuesday going forward, which is new for us, Social Tuesday. And I don't think I have to do as much this time around because these guys know way more about social media than I do. And so here's how it works. One person is going to volunteer with either a search term, a particular profile for a business, or even a person. We're not going to do our own stuff, but if you want to join in and offer yours, we're happy to look at that too. But they're going to give suggestions on what we'll look at. And then I have to keep remembering to look at camera 2 instead of camera 1. I'm really sorry about this. I really need to figure this out. So here I am on camera 1. Sorry.
You'll get it.
I'll get it. So we're going to start with LinkedIn. We're just going to, I think we're just going to come up with a search term and find somebody or a few people who show up in the search results and look at them, their profiles, their about section, their headline, their picture, their banner, that kind of stuff, and talk about what we would change based on what we think they're trying to achieve. Who wants to volunteer with the search term? And I will share my screen.
How about we start with hashtag LinkedIn?
Oh, everybody uses that, huh?
The people who think they know how to use LinkedIn use it.
Yeah.
I've been linked out of LinkedIn.
Have you really? Have they booted you out?
No, they didn't boot me out. I just don't spend much time there.
So here's LinkedIn.
It doesn't capture my attention. So.
Why would someone use hashtag LinkedIn?
Giving LinkedIn advice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
On how to use LinkedIn.
This person
I thought you're giving advice to LinkedIn on how they should be using LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have some of that too, but.
Right. They won't let us do that.
Well, then let's go to people. You guys can see my screen, I guess, right? I hope, maybe.
Yep.
I'm gonna enlarge this sucker. Okay.
And then let's just, besides the CEO at LinkedIn.
He probably wouldn't be good to
all these people work at LinkedIn, so you're not going to be able to do much there.
Look for Richard Vanderblom.
Who's that?
He spends a lot of time.
UMOM?
BLOM.
Okay.
And you need some spaces in there. Space between Van and Der.
Really? That's weird. Not a good Dutchman.
Hey, there he is.
All right.
Virtual selling.
All right, Heather, what do you want to look at here?
Well, I think that for somebody who is effective at using LinkedIn and gives a lot of advice on how to use LinkedIn and does a lot of research on it, I figured we'd look and see what we could learn from his profile.
Sure.
Why
not? Okay. I mean, I have thoughts already, but I'm going to defer to the guests first. So, Dr. V, what do you think?
My area of expertise in LinkedIn is probably less than a first grader. It's like I'm not the right person to.
Yeah, but marketing and sales fundamentals don't change.
Okay.
Consumer.
As I look at this, to me, there's too much text.
It's a very
busy bio. Yeah, very, very busy.
It's very heavy.
And I would say his banner. Well, the banner's sort of okay, but I don't quite understand his positioning with his chin resting on he's looking upward into outer space because he's looking beyond his own banner.
Also, there's the thing about the banners there's a lot of text on the banners.
Yeah, it's text heavy.
It isn't searchable.
Text heavy.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not like, someone could type in tailor-made training sales navigator and find them because of this banner. It would have to be somewhere else.
Would he give advice to Taylor Swift on tailor-made training or no? We don't know yet.
She doesn't need advice.
Okay, she doesn't need it. Okay, she doesn't. It's not on LinkedIn.
I do think the banner is definitely more about him rather than what you get.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
This is what I do, not, I'll boost your sales by 20%.
Yeah. And I mean, let's revisit probably the most fundamental of all fundamentals when it comes to marketing and sales, right?
Mhm.
The worst trap you can fall into is the belief that they would buy from me if only they knew everything I know.
Yeah.
And so I need to tell them everything that I think they might ever be interested in, or that any one of them might ever be interested in.
So, and there's some
And they just vomit up
inconsistency.
as many
Yeah.
search terms and lines of business and everything that they can instead of I mean,
So
I don't know Richard at all. In fact, I don't think I've
Mhm.
ever heard of him before today, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that
me
he's
neither.
like fantastic at what he does. But
Yeah.
on the other hand, he what am I trying to say here? I want to be as like polite as possible.
He's not addressing his audience.
He's if you're everything, you're nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
He doesn't
I'm,
focus.
so I'm a little confused because he has a Netherlands phone number, a Netherlands email address, but he's in Greater Valencia metropolitan area, which is Spain.
Yeah.
So right there, geographically, you've got me confused.
That's not a buying decision criteria for me, though. I mean, I think
Yeah.
it just makes him seem like a jet setter, like he's all over the place, right?
Plus, if you're in
Mhm.
America, any other country in the world or anywhere in Europe,
Not
it's all one
America.
country to us. Right? You don't
Mhm.
care.
America.
I mean, the
God
fact
bless.
that I mean, if he's in Valencia and not anywhere in the
Or is
middle,
he in Valencia,
still in the same time
California? That
zone.
would be even worse.
They're in the same time zone, so who cares?
Well,
Mm.
and we're talking about the digital world anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, that's not criteria that's making it into trustworthiness.
Well, I'm a
Yeah.
consumer, so I just don't
So-
trust him.
Nope, it's not that
I
you're
want, to
wrong.
talk about I want to talk about the dual pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a look that
Okay.
bothers me.
Well, now here's the thing. Normally, at least one of the pictures you would expect to be looking at the audience.
Right.
Online. So
Yes.
now he might be making a stylistic choice to stand apart since everyone else has a picture where they look at the audience.
Hmm.
So I wouldn't say that it's wrong, but you know, he knows that he's giving up something. He's giving up some level of connection, like emotional connection, in so much as you can have an emotional connection on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
He's giving up some level of emotional connection on LinkedIn by not, in at least one of his two pictures, looking at the audience, you know, with a like direct to camera.
Right. And we cue in on faces, it lights up our
Yes.
brain,
And
and we tend to follow where other people are looking. And so
Yeah.
that he's not even looking at his own text and his own banner in that picture, I think is a missed opportunity. And
Yeah.
just as if we're just playing with like percentages and cognitive response and all of that he's looking away. And I'm with you, Dean. I want that engagement. I want to build trust. And him
Right.
looking off into the stars is like, that doesn't help me. Like, I want
think
you
it's
to look
because
at
he
me
looked
and help me.
beyond the banner. That's what got me. That he was looking out into space
Uh-huh.
in the banner, beyond
I
the
mean, he's
banner.
pondering, right? This is a classic pondering pose. I want
Yeah.
somebody who
Yes.
knows and is going to tell me what to do. I'm
You're
tired
talking
of
about
thinking
the
about
right hand
things.
one though. The left hand one, he just looks sad.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
A little
Very.
wistful. It's a little
And
wistful.
sad as in like not sad as in pathetic, sad as in low or blue or depressed.
Right. And he
Yeah.
doesn't
That's
smile
why he
in either
moved
of
to
the pictures.
Spain.
You'd think he'd be smiling by now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would have
With
thought.
all those
yeah.
oranges.
And I don't know, like, you know, exactly what he's going to teach me. I mean, there are things here. I know one thing he's not going to teach me is focus on focusing my message
Yeah.
because he wouldn't do it.
What
All right.
I
Now,
am
by the way,
interested
is
in,
it just maybe I'm just not used to this. Is it a convention to put the copyright sign if you're like a personal brand, put the copyright sign before your name?
No,
yeah, I thought it went
not
No.
at
on.
all.
I'm not sure.
Not at all.
It's usually
Uh,
after.
What I think is really interesting is the book, The 15-Minute LinkedIn Call. So LinkedIn now allows some of you, if you just now turn on creator mode, you can get this. If you're one of the peons of the LinkedIn world, you're still waiting for it. That would be
Right.
me. But you could put your website in there now. But you
Oh.
get to link it to whatever you want and use whatever text you want. So I think it's really nice that he puts a lead magnet in there of that call to action instead of like
Yes.
richardvanderblom.com. He's roping me in with that one a little bit too. I don't know if that costs money or what, but I think he's making good use of that new feature.
Yeah. All right. So moving down, he has a highlight section. That's fine. There's lots of visual stuff in the activity featured. That's fine. There's the activity section, and now we get to his about section. There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
All right. All right. One of the people who thinks you need to start with a question.
Oh, so he is in Spain.
And then he goes to another question. Want to know what
John.
it takes to become successful with virtual selling to strengthen your personal brand as a trusted advisor and increase lead generation? Ooh, that's the second question and a very long one.
He needs a little Hemingway.
It's a little too long.
Yeah.
I'm really glad we're not looking at our own, by the way, because I haven't refreshed mine lately, and I'm already trembling a little inside.
Fair enough.
Mine's
Somebody's going to watch this in the future. They're like, look at these guys. Okay, so
get ready.
As far as openings go, if you're going to open with a question, he didn't do it wrong. It's not great, but he didn't do it wrong in that it's specific and a little interesting in that his question is about a state as opposed to knowledge, which is kind of fun. I would have rewritten it.
Of course.
Also, and this is depending on who his depending on where his market is. I mean, obviously he's in Europe, but he's writing in English, and I see this all over the place. It's very common for people where English is their second language, especially if they're writing to an American market, to capitalize words that Americans don't expect to see capitalized as a way of emphasizing the word. So he's doing this in lieu of A, bold, B, italics, or C, strong writing in the first place. Right. And you see this ever. I see virtual selling. I mean, you can almost get away with it if it's sort of a common, like a proper noun, but hybrid world of sales is not a term.
Right. I like to put my dumb consumer hat on and be like, what does this say to me? And to me, it takes the cognitive load to interpret what the heck that is.
It takes you
like,
out
I actually
of the
don't know
flow.
what the hybrid world of sales is, but I'm starting to parse that out as a puzzle. Like, what does that actually mean? Does it mean there's a lot of marketing and sales and marketing? Or does it
Here's
mean
what I can guarantee you. If you didn't know what hybrid worlds of sales is, you're certainly not curious about how to leverage it.
Right. Yep. And I say the word leverage in your first sentence. It's like too big and fancy. Like, again, I love that Hemingway app. I know I said I was out of tools, but that's one of my number one tools. What's the reading level on this? It's way too high for your first paragraph. You can get higher as you rope me in and get the right people in. But the first sentence or two has got to be like, I'm hardly paying attention. Spoon feed me.
Hey, by the way, his personal profile picture is interesting because if you're on your phone and you refresh, it turns into a video.
No, it starts off when we first got to this page.
Oh, okay.
It's like a short little video or GIF kind of thing that he does. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it doesn't loop. So once it's played, once it's done. Yeah, it only comes in at 8, which isn't terrible, and is actually like lower than I would have expected. But of course, 3/4 of it is this sort of like long.
Well, it might not be reading hybrid world of sales as something it would edit because of the capitalization.
That's true. It expects American selling. Sales you can actually
how social is LinkedIn really?
It depends on the circles you're traveling in. So in all the time that I've worked in marketing, I've worked with small businesses, and it's just been really interesting to see where one specific outlet will really resonate with in all the different kind of jobs I've done. And I could never get LinkedIn to work for me until I really got into solopreneurship. And it's where there's a lot of coaches, consultants, and then people looking for work and recruiters kind of in the mix. But if you're not swimming in those seas, there's not a ton going on until you really niche down into there's some kind of collective groups that are really specialized by what kind of work that they do. So in my premium community, I work with somebody who's in like disaster planning and disaster relief and all of that. And there's a group there, there's some of these pockets that are really active, but they're really active around an industry.
Yeah. Well, does Richard need disaster recovery here, or is it okay?
This isn't a disaster. This is by no means
It's not a disaster. It's just simplification, I think, is what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Also, the article is wrong.
And a little clarification on some things, I think.
You can't have proven strategies on Sales Navigator, and you don't have unique insights on Sales Navigator. Not really. 4 would have been much better there.
Or with.
All right. You want to do someone else?
Ah.
Heather? Is that what you said you wanted to look at?
Either that or what else does Richard
I'm
have
just kidding.
besides just LinkedIn? Do you want to look at
Well,
something
so
else?
are we looking just at
Oh,
profiles here? Or are we looking at the anatomy of the posts?
Oh, we can do that too. You want to look at his activity?
Mm-hmm.
It's a brave new world.
It is.
Richard
Posts.
doesn't seem to do anything short.
Nope.
That's fine.
Welcome to Richard at Length.
I have found I kind of only catch some of the posts that go a little bit bigger or viral, but every time I've caught one of his posts, I've learned something.
Yeah.
That's good. So he's an educator.
Mm-hmm.
And a good one.
Yes. And he does his group does some of their own research too and comes out with that. So that's always really interesting thing to grab people's attention.
Mhm.
Right.
And his data isn't big data, but I think the last one I looked at had like 8,000, which is considerable.
Yeah.
So
Well, he
so
does
worth
he
listening
does
to.
say below there that he does LinkedIn algorithm research.
Yes,
And as you scroll
which
down
is
there,
helpful.
so.
But
And that's a
Yeah.
unique thing to say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If it was me, though, I'd get in there and spend, like, I'm tempted to just get in here and fix this anyway, just turning on the tool and making all these changes. This is way too long. I would change this. I would, at a minimum, fix the article.
Mhm.
well, I'm curious how often you look at your profile and update it to the people in this room.
How often
For
I
me,
do
it's
it?
for me, it's
Like
like every
every 4
8
months or
weeks
so.
or so.
Yeah.
I do it every 8 to 12 weeks, probably.
Yeah.
I would say I look at mine every couple months.
Yeah. So I don't think that's a typical activity.
No, most people let it sit there for years.
If you're not having problems generating business, you're like, why would I spend time on that?
Right,
So,
exactly.
Right.
It's not the closest dollar activity. I totally get that.
Yes.
All right, what else you want to search for? Anybody? Let's
Does
find
he have
a business coach.
Okay.
business coach? Oh, that's an interesting
I
one.
wonder if there are any business coaches on LinkedIn.
I don't know.
I wouldn't mind seeing this somewhere along what else Mr. Vanderblom does, like on Twitter or where else he's active.
It's interesting
Yeah.
that in
Would be
search it
interesting
comes
to
up with
see.
everybody who's second.
So we may have to come back to him again sometime.
Yeah, you guys I'm going to scroll. You just pick one.
Babette.
Coach Babette.
Coach Babette.
Okay.
Oh, a
Ooh la
financial
la.
Coach.
That'll be exciting. Okay.
Ooh la la. French Coast Business.
1031 Exchange Consultants.
What's 1031 Exchange?
That's where you do exchanges of
Your 1031s?
assets of equal value, but typically
Okay.
it's
That's right. You
it's
are a financial guy. Yeah.
1035 is investments and 1031 is real estate.
Got it.
well, I
So
like her
Babette is a
description
a
better
New York
than
one.
Vanderblom's. It's you know what she does
It's
Yeah.
super
pretty
simple.
quickly, especially with the 1031 exchange. That for me narrows
Yeah,
it
because
down.
you actually, and the interesting thing is because there are fewer words, it actually does draw your attention.
Yeah.
I tend to avoid those large paragraph descriptions.
Mhm. However, she
Every reader
hasn't.
does. Every reader makes an instant assessment of how much they're willing to invest emotionally and attention-wise into anything that they see. And unfortunately, LinkedIn doesn't really give you a chance to put in white space if you have a long description or headline.
Mhm.
So it just jams it all together. And
Right.
so, I mean, you have to adapt to the platform you're on. And if that's how they're going to format it, then you need to keep it as impactful and short as you can get away with.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it looks to me like she hasn't turned on creator mode and doesn't have her hashtags listed,
Yeah.
which is another go-to thing. And then the banner is a little bit of wasted space. So if you look at those two posts, scroll up just a little bit, Dean. Look at those two posts. Her primary spot looks like Instagram to me, and this is
Yeah.
the afterthought. That's I would guess
Yeah.
from looking at that. Right? There's no
Yeah.
text in there. There's nothing. None of that is going on. This is somebody who's like, I'm on Instagram. This is where I'm active, but I'll throw down something on LinkedIn because I have followers there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's done periodically. One was in March and one was in May.
Basically, whenever there's a big holiday.
Yeah, what's the recipe about look like?
Needs a
She
couple
talks
more
about
letters.
herself in the third person. No, stop that, people. Stop
She's
that.
gone against the odds, though.
All right.
I like the emotional language, though. It may not resonate with you all, but we saw the Wonder Woman right in there. So,
Yeah.
and she's a
Right.
woman in a man's world if we're talking about any of the financial world. So
Hear her
I'm all for
roar.
that. I think it's talking to her target market.
Yep. Although I would actually,
You go first person.
I would kill, well, besides going first person, I would kill that.
Yeah. And he has somebody who came from this background. I'd say
Uh-huh.
she actually uses good language in doing that.
But good language for consumers or for professionals of a similar background?
Good language, a little bit of both,
Okay.
but really for consumers. So I mean, I think she does a
Okay.
really good job of talking to consumers about the right things.
Okay.
It could use a little Dean workover, but aside from that,
A teen workover. Just
Yeah.
work her over.
Better use of white space, better use of
She's in North
bold.
Carolina. You can get her a
Also,
house.
like, what's going on here? Besides third person, there it is again. There it is again.
Yeah. She keeps
There it is
repeating.
again. Like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
She's reminding you of who she is.
Yeah, you only have to do that so many times.
Yeah.
Once is probably enough.
Ay.
This reads, I understand that she's a financial coach and a business coach and a 1031 exchange consultant.
It reads like a
But it
life
reads like she's a life coach.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is happening here? Gone against the odds.
Well, I got to
Career and
tell
life
you,
transitions.
finance
Pieces
and
they
life
never
go
thought
together really well.
But she needs to tie them in together to sell me on it in her about
Yes.
section, right? She's not
She could do that.
she's not showing me a better life through finances, right? Through entering that conversation through our finances.
Yeah.
She's just giving me at this point, as we read through it, I like the tone. I like a lot of the language choice for it, but it's very life coach and not very business coach or financial coach.
Right.
And it's starting to get repetitive throughout.
I
It's
think
a
it's-
lot of
I-
cheerleading and not a lot of here's what we're going to actually do or work on or what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
I think she's more likely needs to drop one of them. I mean, I would say she probably would be better off dropping business coach and just going into financial coach. Just because
But I don't know if we can
finance
make that
revenue
determination.
is one of the major currencies that people look for when you're designing.
Or you find a unique way of
Program.
applying them together.
Well, I think both business coach and finance coach are a little too broad. I
Mhm.
thought we'd see something about the exchange, the 1031 exchange in here, and about something along those lines. I thought we were
Yeah.
going to get niche down a little bit and get really specific along those lines. But I also wouldn't call myself Coach Babette if I was doing 1031 exchange.
No.
Or
Unless
even-
you
I
really
wouldn't
want
do it in
to
general.
buck the system, that real male dominated, you know what I mean? It's like be yourself if that's part of it.
Yeah,
I
a full
wouldn't-
name would be very helpful.
Yeah. Or even see a piece of content on it because there's a lot to talk about with 1031 exchanges.
Yep.
And it's a popular, believe it or not, right now it's kind of a popular topic.
Well, and that would be great to put into her some of her pinned.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The featured section.
Yeah. I don't think she wrote this, by the way. I would bet money that she
This
did not
almost
write
looks like
this.
it came from a brochure when she was a speaker.
She paid someone. Yeah, it looks like a
Could be.
bio from like a speaker intro bio.
Exactly.
Mm.
But yeah, she didn't write this. And I can tell not because of the quality of the writing, which I'm not going to say anything about the quality of the writing. I'm in a
Suspect.
good mood today. But as far as the bones are there, right? There's a nod to safety. There's a nod to like the impact that she could have for you. There's a nod to
Collaboration.
an angle. It's not very good nod to an angle. It's the weakest thing. And there's a nod to sort of completeness. So all the like four main elements are there that you'd expect. It's just that this benefits from the concept of there's always a second right answer. Go look for the second right answer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. What else do we want to look for?
Let's see.
Oh, by the way, I have to mention this. You see in their URL where it's like her name, right? Just like mine is Dean Way, and yours is probably Heather Coven and so on, right? But I saw one the other day. It's a guy that I know, and he specializes in consulting with companies in the consumer packaged goods industry. Basically, what gets onto a shelf in a supermarket.
Mhm.
And so his URL, instead of his name, is CPG marketing, which is exactly what someone would search for. Like,
Right,
how
because
clever
the
was
business
that?
page is for nothing on LinkedIn. Business pages are complete BS on LinkedIn. You post there and they'll show it to no one. So that actually makes
Yeah.
great sense to use it on your personal profile, because my
Yeah.
personal profile exists really to promote my business. That's
Yeah.
why I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a
Mhm.
solopreneur, right? So my personal profile promotes my business. My business page gets ignored by LinkedIn and does nothing for me.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
While we're here, actually, I'm not even sure I
I would love
have
to see
anything on
Bur-
Instagram. I bet on Facebook, though. I bet Coach Babette is on Facebook.
I'm sure.
oui. On the Book of Faces. Would you like to leave? We will miss you, Dean.
Come on, Facebook.
The challenge usually is trying to load while you're in Restream or some other streaming software. Even Zoom is
Yeah.
like this.
It's like everything slows down.
There she is.
There she is.
Let's see what
There
Coach.
she is.
Coach
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Coach Babette. How are you?
You're so sure she's French.
I think so.
Oh, where is she? Does anybody know or
Bienvenue.
remember?
Well, this is her public figure page. That's not her personal.
Yeah, so this
one,
is her Facebook business page.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Do you
as a
think
human
this is her?
being,
That's not her.
no, that's a coach sportif.
I mean, it's the
She's a
same
sports
profile
coach.
picture.
Yeah, but these are pages. So she was
Well,
a
you
sports
probably need
coach?
her regular name, right? She's operating as Coach Babette so that she could
Well,
keep
we
her
don't know
private
who
life
she
private.
is.
Nope, there she is.
There she is, right
That
there.
is, that is her.
We found her.
528 people. Amazing. Yeah, this is a very different
Look, yes.
look and feel for everything. Yeah. I mean, but are people okay with a disconnect between a Facebook personal
I
profile
don't
and
care
say
what's
LinkedIn?
on
I don't
my
think it makes any
Absolutely.
difference.
Doesn't matter.
Honestly.
Absolutely.
I think it depends on the person how they want to approach
Yeah.
that.
Facebook
Presenting themselves.
Facebook is for your personal. I mean, so many of us started on Facebook so many years ago with our personal lives.
Yeah.
And have so many connections and our family and all of that, and we want to keep them separate. A lot of the stuff that I would post for Go Down has nothing to do with what my parents want to see and what my friends want to see. It's a nice to split the streams, because I don't want to be pitching stuff to people who I want to go hang out with on the weekend.
I want to do it to everybody, just in case.
Well, everybody has their own.
I know
way
a friend.
Of doing
I know
it, but-
somebody who could probably
Exactly.
use your service.
Well, so that's one thing, is you could certainly post on your personal profile from
Yeah.
time to time, but they don't need the
Yeah.
barrage.
But they haven't left me, so that's a good stuff.
It left you,
So
yeah.
Dean found someone new.
This is Jennifer.
So I just typed in strategy, and the first person to come up was someone who I guess is in my
Insight.
geographic area, but I don't know her.
Okay.
And of course, no banner at all.
No.
My guess is this person is not somebody who posts and pays attention to their
No.
LinkedIn very often. When
No.
was her last post?
She went to
She
Boston
hasn't
College.
posted lately,
She went to BC.
Yeah.
Well, 4 days.
4 days is not
but she
bad.
hasn't posted
Not bad at
lately.
all.
So if you
Yes.
saw where
She's a
Dean
sharer,
said-
not a creator.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a lover, not a fighter. I'm a
And she's,
sharer, not a
she's
creator.
got a JOB, so she's
Yeah.
not looking to be selling anything here.
Yeah.
Her
Right.
services are not available to
Strategy.
us.
So, consultant.
How do
Yes.
we know she doesn't
There
have
we
a
go.
side gig on the weekends?
She could, but she should be advertising that on her LinkedIn and maybe have something for a banner.
A banner would be nice.
Strategy.
Just find someone who.
If you don't
looks
have a
like they're
banner,
on
you
their
risk
own.
abandonment.
You do.
Bird.
I do wish that LinkedIn, when you did these searches, this is where I get so frustrated with LinkedIn. When you do searches like this, why would you give me somebody who hasn't posted in 100 years? Like, why is that the first person who comes up?
Oh, maybe
Yeah.
they
Why
seem
don't
to
you
do
give
it
me somebody who's active?
geographically, no? I don't see anybody.
could be.
Well,
Could be.
because
No,
they want you
these
to meet it
people
in
are all
real
over the
life.
place.
Serge.
You're right.
All right, gentlemen, I have a 9:30. Right
Yeah,
now, it's
it's been
almost
half an
9:30
hour.
for
We
me.
did 2 people.
Two people, no
Uh,
waiting.
I think next time we do this, next
No
Tuesday, we'll probably move on to. Maybe we'll move to TikTok or we'll move to Facebook. Although
Oh
I mean,
boy.
there's a lot of
TikTok,
audience.
yeah,
there for
TikTok,
LinkedIn.
Facebook, Instagram. Instagram's still one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Twitter,
Twitter's always fun.
Twitter, yeah,
Yeah.
Musk
YouTube
World.
is especially fun.
Yeah,
YouTube.
I
Must-
can't really get
must
much
be-
looking at stuff. People don't pay attention about their own profiles on YouTube.
We
YouTube
must do
Shorts.
That's
something
true.
with YouTube.
Guilty.
Yeah,
Social profiles.
but yeah, social media. There's lots to be done. We've barely scratched the surface on it. So as we zero in, we'll get more stuff, and hopefully, maybe someday, actually, someone actually. Oh, never mind. But we can't take care of it anyway. Too late. Anyway, thanks very much, everyone.
Too late.
There is no video tomorrow, as far as I know, because of jury duty, unless they tell me tonight they don't need me, since I am trying to, apparently, my local county is trying to set some kind of record for how many times someone can be called up for jury duty, and I'm winning and losing. Depending
Hey,
on
I
be
just
so
got another
neutral.
one. I average one a year. So I got one for June 8th. I got it.
All right, I'm late now.
All right. See ya.
I'm in.
Bye.
See ya.